Tyranny of the Hatt by Liam Campbell and Clara Lucas. Log 12, Last Straw. Devious Diesel oiled through the yards. The trucks quivered in fear, whispering from one another. Good, good, murmured Diesel, oil almost dripping from his mouth from his tone. As he rounded a corner, he found his next unsuspecting victim. A van was dozing on an empty piece of track. The wrong piece of track. Diesel rammed into her, sending her squealing, crossing some points and behind a line of trucks. There was a loud "Youch!" before a long silence. Diesel smirked as he departed. He was only halfway across the points when he jerked back suddenly. The van was racing back towards him and banged into him with a thud. Diesel shoved her harshly into the line of grunting trucks.
Ow! Watch it! We didn't even do anything!
Duck came hissing and clanking around the bend. What in the name of Swindon are you doing? Running the yards properly. More like a dictatorship. Your point being, you can't just bump them like that. You need to be gentle. Honestly, it seems like you've never shunted in your life. And Duck took a line of trucks in front of him and gently tucked them into a siding, the trucks snoring peacefully. This way, you don't damage them. For someone so revolutionary. Right. I figure you would try to not destroy your rolling stock. That would be the most economical way. Diesel's engine spluttered. You always go about and try to use your old steamer techniques. Actually, I call it the Great Western Way, smirked Duck. Enough. I don't care about your Great Western whatevers. You're just an annoying, pestering idiot like those morons that you named. Is there a problem with them being named? Confronted Duck, rolling away from the trucks and getting onto Diesel's line. They're nothing in the grand scheme of things, scoffed Diesel. They're just some drops in the bucket, a jump-off point if anything goes wrong. He began to yell loudly. They'll never amount to anything. They don't see what I see. I see a future for us Diesels while they're all fantasizing about the past. They have no use and will never amount to anything, and will always be nobodies. They don't need names, nevertheless numbers. There'll always be thing 1 and 2. Shadoop! Whoosh, Duck. They're your brothers. You shouldn't treat them like nobodies. Treat them like you care for them, or at least Troy. And Duck thrust forward, bumping into Diesel hard. Diesel laughed maniacally. He licked his teeth as he spat out a red liquid. Standing up for them now. I thought you viewed them the same way. They didn't matter in your story until they turned out to be obsessed with you. And Diesel ran forward and biffed Duck back harder. I decided that it was high time to get to know them. They're good engines, and very nice to talk to. Pah, you think some imbecile of an engine and one with dementia are worth anyone's time. Duck flew into Diesel, their buffers bending. Diesel changed lines quickly, dodging his attack. He swerved violently as he The shattering of windows cut through the air as Diesel bashed into a set of 2 auto coaches. Alice and Maribel winced from pain as they sobbed silently. Diesel stumbled back, changing back onto Duck's line. You! And Duck thrust forward for a second attack. He shoved the Diesel and pushed him down the siding. Sparks flew as Diesel shut on his brakes. He pushed the Diesel into a set of buffers which creaked and groaned from the tons of steel pressing against it. Diesel held his ground and roared his engine louder than bear. He shunted Duck forward with all his weight, spinning Duck's wheels frantically into reverse. Duck tossed on his brakes as they nearly escaped the yards and onto the main line. There was a rumbling in the tracks as the Diesel held Duck onto the open points between the yards and main line. He darted his eyes back to see Philippa rapidly approaching. Points! Strained Duck to a coupler. There was a click from the switch behind them as the coupler flung the lever. Duck released his brakes fully. Duck was shoved backwards by Diesel. They rolled across Philippa's path, just missing them, and thundered down into the harbor. Duck regained traction as he meticulously placed sand down, stopping right in the middle of the harbor. You should have seen what it was like in Paddington. He chuckled hysterically. It wasn't Great Western at all. Engines fighting, I thought of it as he pushed Diesel greatly forward before being pushed back into where he was like it was an arm wrestling contest. Kill or be killed, and he spat in Diesel's face. Diesel shrieked as he was pushed backwards. They switched lines once more as they got closer and closer to the key. A crowd had drawn around Steam and Diesel. Kipper and Jem showed up, rooting for Duck. Workers cheered for the Great Western Engine. "Kick his ass!" yelled Jem. Duck smirked at them and winked before getting shoved back more. He was shunted farther, passing Porter and Rosie at the side of the key. Duck and Diesel strained their weight vigorously as they put all their effort into pushing the other away. Sparks flew in both directions. Workers stood back from a great distance as all 4 harbor engines stared in admiration. Duck scoffed. Diesel growled. Duck winced. Diesel mourned. With a crack and eruption of dark and white smoke, the two stopped. Their crews ran from the cabs into a safe distance. Both Steam and Diesel achieved their limit, and Duck blew his safety valve and erupted into a cloud of smoke. Diesel had blown a fuse and smog erupted from his vents. The two panted loudly as they were covered in fumes. Do you call this Great Western? Something more akin to Elamis. Steven surveyed the mess. The 2 engines had been removed from the key and were now being looked over extensively outside of the entrance of Timothy's sheds. "I thought I could trust you, Diesel," he said grimly. "You shall go back to the other railway." Duck smiled through his exhaustion. "Is what I would say if I hadn't already bought you." Diesel smirked through his exhaustion. "I'm not proud of either of you. You both have proved to the public what silly engines you are. I will be sending you both to the Peel Gadget Project, away from the public eye." Duck sighed as devious Diesel cackled psychotically. You're removing me," he giggled. "Pa, you need me. You won't survive without me." "I have enough of your games. You shall no longer puppeteer me." "But who will do my work then?" "I've bought enough and new engines already. One of them should be showing up soon enough."